Lord, and to let them know that they are never forsaken, because you say, lo, I'm with you always. Always God is with us. You have but to take your mind off of yourself and think on the goodness of God. And the best way to get there, I have found, in the name of God, is forgiveness. Some of us are angry about stuff that happened years ago. Forget it. Put the forgiveness aside. That's where your healing comes, because then you make room to be blessed, because the energy changes around you. Lord, we thank, and I believe her name is Shannon Sneed.
Shannon Sneed.
She wrote a great op-ed in the Baltimore Sun today about this, to think that the mayor with the city has to build schools, although I think that's a big undertaking. I think if they fix the schools that we have and renovate them.
Patrick, that is a misdirection ploy.
A misdirection ploy? How do you mean, Richard?
It's misdirection because if you've listened also during the course of the week, the governor just laid out a $3 billion plan that covers the amount of school construction that has been asked for in the entire state. And when he laid out this bill, he also laid out the fact that he knows how to pay for it and has it paid for going in. So there's not a guessing game as to how to pay for all of this, like we're getting ready to see with Kerwin. And it is Kerwin that we're looking at as a potential double-barrel whammy headed straight for us. And that's coming, and that's headed our way, which is another reason why I wrote if you will allow me a little later on to unveil.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I am going to let you. I read it this morning. I will do that. But I mean, I'm thinking nobody is talking. They're talking about fixing buildings.
Is that they're fixing the curriculum and also putting in changing the career curriculum as well, which they could have done years and years ago if they really, really wanted to.
Yes, I saw they were putting in technology, but there's still no work, no shops in there. No, what is the word I'm looking for, guys? Vocational. There's no vocational training in there. So to me, again, they're missing the mark for that, and that's really bad for us. Also, nobody is talking about the fact that our children can't read. I would like to propose, and I am going to propose, that the organization Reading Partners be put in every kindergarten and elementary school in the city, because they stopped teaching reading after the third grade. So if that child can't read by the third grade, they are doomed. That is what they call school to prison pipeline that is being set up. So until our children can read, and that is focused and brought to system, we're going to keep getting the same results. Insanity.
You keep doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result.
Well, when you read that Kerwin Commission, that's exactly what they are doing. It's like they don't really care, and this is where our mayor can come in and say, no, education. We know crime is a big problem, but education is the next thing, because if our children can't read, if our children cannot secure employment because of a lack of knowledge, the basic principle of being able to read, then we're not going anywhere as a city. So I would like for all of you all to consider what I'm saying. Go ahead, Jimmy.
Yeah, I'm just profoundly confused about what's on the mayor's mind. We have a surplus. I'd like to know, number one, how we got it. I don't know that there's a matrix which shows where the monies came from. He casually said months ago, last month, I guess, that there's always extra money hanging around certain departments. I wonder how we got to the $34 million, about how to use it. I'd like to hear exactly the basis for his reasoning for using the surplus versus any other person in this town. It's just very confusing as to what he's thinking and how that's going to impact everybody in the city.
Allegedly, Jimmy, what's going on now, and this is where politics, again, it's rearing its very ugly head. when the whole $34 million budget, the surplus came out. Now, the person who should know about that is the comptroller, but we haven't heard word one from
No, we
her.
haven't. I can't track the $34 million.
But she is supposed to be able to track the $34 million.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, why shouldn't the city know that? Why shouldn't John Q. Citizen know that? And why shouldn't I know what the mayor's reasoning is?
That's how the sleight of hand works, Jimmy.
Well, lack of transparency. Just the same thing with the gag order.
I am exhausted by Brandon and the mayor sniping and moaning and groaning about each
Welcome
other.
to Politics 101.
Sure,
distraction.
And it's going to get
Sure
worse
it is.
as the
and
election
it's
comes
get worse.
closer.
But the people who are going to have the repercussions from that are people like me.
Oh man, it is just high school.
Middle school.
I think the bigger question is this $31.9 billion that's going to be needed to be able to even support Kerwin. And then technically there was a Loyola economics professor that's saying that actually the cost of it is actually a lot higher. That the figure that he was looking at, when you look at it over 10 years, I'm trying to find the figure. I know it was way higher than what they were proposing. I think almost 300 billion over the 10 years, which he's saying that we don't have the money. He said that when you look at years 1 through 9, the actual cost of Kerwin is $3.1 billion. And the city doesn't have that type of money. We're already out of all jurisdictions in Maryland. Baltimore City pays the highest property tax, 50% higher than any other jurisdiction
And we
in
have
Maryland.
to do that because we're losing population.
Absolutely.
So
Well, it's not just population. If we
burden
stop doing
falls on
TIFs, we have all these losing projects. Just recently, a report came out. The Center West project on Poppleton is losing money, and the taxpayers have started to pay back the bonds for that.
Do we still own the Hilton?
We still own the Hilton, and actually, we had to do some creative financing on the 2019 budget to make payment for that bond.
Well, how do you like your Hilton? You own it.
I've never been in there, so.
I have. Yeah. I have. It's just state of the art. I mean, it's a good hotel. All most Hiltons are.
But the problem is that you give these tax incentives to corporations that technically have the money to build the Hilton, to build the Center West project in Poppleton, to build Exelon. And I even found out in the Center West project that they paid for the city infrastructure through the Department of Housing. So that the infrastructure is the roads, the streets, the sewer lines.
And they gave it to that one bit.
And they gave it to that one project.
Now that was under whose administration? O'Malley or
well, this is a project that hasn't been going on for too long. So I would probably say
Stephanie and Martin O'Malley, right?
Right. And the same thing that happened with Exelon. Exelon, one of the things we argued with when we went down to City Hall to try to stop Exelon from getting TIFs was the fact that they were getting incentives for the infrastructure. And I used the analogy when I testified in City Hall that it's like me building a house and then expecting the city to supply my sewer lines to my house, my water lines to my house, and build my driveway into my 2-car garage. Correct. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. And then when we're looking for money, and we're going to have to, we're how you say it, we're going to have to really clinch pretty hard within the next couple of years because we're going to have to figure out how to comply with the current recommendations, and we don't have the money.
Well, I read that our sales taxes are so low that we're a normal city. That means that explains why we have all these traffic speed cameras and stuff, because the sales tax is so. I'd much rather pay more with sales tax than a property tax. Highly, I think that would be more to the point. But you know what, Bubby? I believe that's Bubby. It says Bobby, but I think that's Bubby. Bubby, I'm going to come to you. But right now, go ahead, Jimmy.
Yeah, I guess to reiterate the point, My problem is that we're not transparent.
Mm-hmm.
And we are running into an election season where it doesn't seem as if we're going to get transparent. And what that makes me then want to do is just throw all the bums out. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can go to hell on my own. I don't need somebody to take me there in this way.
Mm-hmm. But you live here. But we live here. So
to hear a mayor say, "Oh well, yeah, we always have a little money hanging around various accounts, but then we don't have audits to show exactly how the money is being used," and then to say, "Well, I think I want to use the surplus this way," and then somebody else says, "I want to use it the other way." But nobody explains the basis for it and how it's going to help
and where it came from,
me, or, and track from where it came from, all of those things. So I am at this point today, I'm very down on politicians and their transparency.
Well, what did Maya Angelou say? She says when someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. Mm-hmm. Jack Young says he doesn't have to speak to the press, which is letting you know he does not like transparency. Is this the way we want to continue in this city? This gag order bill will bring transparency, but he tried to veto that.
Well,
so he seems to have a problem with being open with the people.
He didn't sign it, which made it automatically go to law. But I guess I don't understand. He took the advice of the city solicitor, who said that this somehow jeopardizes the authority of the senior manager, which to me is not a rationale for not doing the gag order. And I think that the mayor should have spoken clearly on exactly what the implications would be for that gag order and why he decided not to sign the law into enactment. I really, that was hurtful.
Well, do you think this city council that we have now, y'all know we do have a new city council already, the idea that they overrode him, does that show some sort of like fidelity for them? Shannon Sneed says for years Baltimore victims of brutality, sexual assault, and discrimination by Baltimore police have been forced into silence. Residents who settled with police departments in cases of police misconduct were required to adhere to a gag order, prohibiting them from speaking their truth as a part of the settlement process. These gag orders were cruel and counterproductive, and now they are a thing of the past. Amen. Today, my transparency and oversight in claims and litigation ordinance became law in Baltimore after Mayor Jack Young chose not to sign or veto the legislation in accordance with the city charter. Richard?
Yeah.
That's in the city charter.
Yes, it is.
And so how he's just going to, he sounds like a little Trump here.
That's always at every step of government. The chief executive has the authority to sign it or not to sign it. And if they don't sign it within a particular period of time, it automatically becomes law, not unless it's overridden by the legislature.
Well,
it's called a pocket veto.
A pocket veto?
Yes.
Wow. They've always said that the mayor has too much power here, and that's a prime example of it. It will take effect on the first of the year. It ends the city's damaging practice of using non-disparagement clauses or gag orders as a condition of settlement. It also requires the city to publicly disclose details about police misconduct, litigation, and settlements. Shannon Sneed said, I sponsored this legislation because the gag order policy was contributing to the cycle of trauma and violence in our city.
Patrick,
yes,
I'm about to be a very cynical individual.
Well, what else is new?
Welcome to the club today, my brother.
And my cynicism arrives in the fact you know what position she's running for, don't you?
Yeah, now after
chair.
this, I'd vote for her. Go ahead.
That's what all of this.
Well, of course it is, but at least she's coming straight up and saying what we all want to hear.
Well, don't most politicians?
Yeah, but you doubt that she used fidelity. You doubt that she will do this and she'll follow through.
I trust no one these days.
I feel you, my brother. She says, I want to thank Tawanda Jones, members of the West Side Wednesday Coalition, Not Without Black Women, Be More Runners, for Justice and the ACLU of Maryland for their tireless efforts throughout the entire process. The final product is a positive example of what can happen when concerned citizens and legislators work together on issues and affect our neighbors. The law was partially inspired by the lawsuit filed by the ACLU. I'm not going to read it all, but I tell you what, I like her. I don't know her, but this is not only well written, but I think it's thoughtful. Go ahead,
The
Jimmy.
irritating thing about all of this is, why should Tawanda Jones have to demonstrate for 200 weeks
Yes, man.
on something like this?
Yes.
I mean, it's just those kinds of things, the energy and the trauma that one has to
Family.
undergo.
Yes, man. Yes, yes.
It's terrible.
Oh,
So,
this stronghold
Yeah.
that the Fraternal Order of Police have, and this collusion with the mayor and what's his name, Andre Davis.
yeah.
Yeah.
You
He's
know,
the city
who
solicitor.
He's the city solicitor. That we just seeing these people just saying, "Screw y'all! You can't even talk about the pain that we're doing to you." Who does that in America? This
Trump.
Other than Trump, exactly. This is some bull doo-doo that y'all need to be aware of, and y'all need to think about who these people are that we're trying to put in office. And I can tell you, Jack Young needs prayer. He needs prayer. He needs to understand that he works for the people. The people don't work for him. Andre Davis, they need to understand they are there for the people. We pay their salaries. They are servants. They are servants. We do not work for them. They work for us.
Well, I want to say this about Jack. He is surrounded by people that I believe that he tries to take counsel from. So he's got the city solicitor, and then he's got people like Rudy Chow. And when you need to take a stand as the mayor, and if people are not serving you well, and I've said this publicly before, if your staff isn't serving you well, then you need to move them out.
Right.
And so we have a city solicitor who's doing things that the public doesn't understand. You have a department,
And is against the public's best interest.
against my interest. I know
Of
that.
course.
Then you have a Department of Public Works official that has succeeded in just depressing the city through water bills and through construction projects that nobody understands. And so you've surrounded yourself and you've taken your guidance from those folks, and the city suffers as a result of it.
Well, not only does the city suffer, but Jason just mentioned a few minutes ago, monies that were supposed to have gone to housing and stuff for infrastructure and stuff, they put in these TIFs. So they gave the money. So we just see how the importance of us having earmarks for that general fund. I keep saying that's one thing I agree with John Pratt. As long as that they keep mayor can just do whatever he or she wants with the money, then we will remain in this stronghold.
And why isn't anybody hearing from her?
Pratt? Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I suppose she's probably she's somewhere trembling, waiting for the axe to fall. I haven't seen, I live next door to the mayor, and I haven't seen a car there or a light on in that house in weeks. Wow. So
I think now is an appropriate time for me to make my quick 1 minute announcement.
You come right ahead,
Where's
boss.
the music? Don't we have some music?
Tight.
Yeah,
Drum roll?
I need a drum roll or
Drum roll.
something. But guys, I say this in jest. My candidacy is I'm going to run for the position of being on the Patrick Henderson radio show, because from my vantage point, it is so educational to listen to Jimmy and all that he has to say. The great words that are being given by Jason, because Jason definitely does his homework.
Yes, he does.
We got a guy that's a walking computer. His name happens to be
Richard Terry, yes.
Poor Richard Terry. So my candidacy is I'm running to be on this show because y'all are not sticking your heads up anybody's rear end. Y'all are calling it like it needs to be called. You're bringing truth to power. And when I see people on the street, they're telling me they're hearing things that are being said by this show that other shows won't say.
Right.
So
right.
I'm running to be on this committee, y'all guys.
Well, I tell you, sir, not only are you welcome, but you are a part of this committee. And not only do we welcome you, but we miss you when you're not here. And bringing up something that is definitely familiar to you, did we just read that was it the Senate or the Congress that just approved forever funding for HBCUs?
The United States Senate. This is amazing. The United States Senate, and what they have voted to do is for here on out is to make sure that they provide the funding needed for HBCUs. So,
wait a minute, hold on, Doc. You're listening to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People. Don't you touch that dial. Let's just see what the implications are for our local schools with this new decision and law by the Senate. Patrick Henderson, right here. We're here for you. Don't touch that dial. We'll be right back.
Be wasted on things that
WOLB Baltimore and WERQ FM HD3 Baltimore.
The views and opinions of the guest and host you hear on 1010 WOLB
are not necessarily those of the staff and management of Radio 1, its sponsors, or advertisers.
It's done unto you as you believe. It's done unto you as you believe.
Ah, yes, done unto you as you believe. I believe in you, and you believe in me, and I believe that we can make our dreams a reality. So, what are the implications, Doc, for Maryland?
Question.
Oh, I'm sorry, that's not you. I gotta go ahead.
Question, Doc. Do you know if the president's going to sign this HBCU bill?
What I'm hearing is yes, and one of the people that has spoken in support of it is the First Lady.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. Well,
the one thing I do notice about the First Lady, and what do you call him, Jimmy? What do you call the president?
Man baby, and I call his wife Third Lady.
Well,
she is Third Lady.
The one thing they have been consistent. I have not heard them disagree on anything. And the fact that she came out, I think we got good possibilities. But as we know, at the end of every day, the question is, do we and will we hold them accountable to live up to what they have promised to do? And that's why I think it's also so important that we really play an active role in the selection of the next person to represent our 7th congressional district. Not only do we have to let them know that, we have issues, but we need to let them know we're going to hold them accountable.
Well, you know what? This is interesting that you would say that. As you all know, I am a news junkie. And I look at MSNBC religiously, and they're always talking about the power of the black vote, but they never interview black people. They always interview white people. But nobody can be elected in this country as president without the black vote. It's just not going to happen. I'm asking you gentlemen, is this a ploy by Trump to try to gain favor within the black community by doing this?
Yes. And with
in
that,
a word.
And with that, Patrick, if you're talking elections, let me get 2 seconds in, and then I'll let you all have the floor for the rest of the day.
Yeah, right. Go ahead.
Not possible.
In exactly 5 seconds, I'm getting ready to submit an email to the heads of the Baltimore City delegation with a card and also to the, in fact, I've just hit it, and also to the chief lobbyist, or so we say, legislative specialist to the governor. What it is, and we look at, and Doc mentioned the 7th Congressional District, we have 4 to 5 individuals who are currently public office holders in the state of Maryland who are seeking other positions.
While holding, go ahead.
Other positions within the city and the state. And in their doing so, it is a little bit of an unfairness. And it's an unfairness on 2 levels. Level 1, they're not losing anything. They are taking no risks. If they do not gain their position,
they still got their
they still got theirs to go back to.
Two, especially with the General Assembly starting in exactly less than 1 month, right in the middle of campaigning, I as a citizen and as a voter, I would want my representative to put full time on the issues that are headed my way, not not have their attention divided between campaigning and seeing to my needs. So what I have done is created a legislative proposal which amends the election laws for the state of Maryland that will say, if you're a public office holder who has been elected by the citizens of Baltimore City, or in the case of Nick Mosby, selected by the central committees of a particular political party, in order to run for a new office, you must resign from your current office to make everything on the fair and level playing field.
I totally agree. So somebody else could run for
Amen.
Where do I sign?
Yeah, where do we sign that? And we're going to be meeting with some people. But speaking of, Doc, I spoke with you last week, and I was asking you who you were kind of feeling and liking as mayor. You're the Matthew Henson, your group has a list of loyalties and commitments to that everybody that you all endorse has to sign. And this is not your first time doing this. You did it with tricky Nick Mosby. And at the end of the term, you all read him his report card, and he had failed, and he made a grade of 33%, I believe you told me. And you all told him that you could not endorse him because he had failed. He met a failing grade, a D or an F, as far as doing the things that he had committed to. Am I correct, sir?
You're correct. Here's what we have done. And of course, we are a nonpartisan group as a organization, as a community organization. We neither endorse or not endorse, but we say as individuals who are members of it, that in fairness, if you sign our memorandum of understanding, as we require of all candidates wanting to come to our community to ask our individual members to vote for them, that we ask them to sign a memorandum of understanding. It's actually on our website. And what it basically says is that we list for them 20 of the major issues affecting our specific community. And we somewhat prioritize them. And we ask these candidates, one, that you sign off, one, that you are knowledgeable of what our issues are, and to the best of your ability, you will try to help the community in acquiring and doing the things that we need to do to improve our community. So what we're telling folks, and we've already gotten candidates who have already come and signed the MOU to get elected to that position that you ran for, we will bring it back to you in 4 years and tell you how you did, and on the basis of the grade that you get, and it's not a grade that we give you, you get it because you basically signed off. And then we will tell the residents, well, this is the grade that they got, and this tells you whether or not they deserve it of your vote again, or whether or not you need to kick them out of office. And we encourage communities all over Baltimore to create such a document. You can go on our website. It's www.mhcdc.net. mhcdc.net. It stands for Matthew Henson Community Development Corporation.net. Click on MOU 2020, and you can create your own MOU. And this is how you hold elected officials accountable.
Yes, sir.
Accountable.
This is democracy in action right here. And I commend you. And there's one person, though, that's kind of standing out to you as one of the candidates. And we're going to be talking to him as, we can't have people on the air who are running during this election season because of the rules of Radio 1. But we must be able to talk about these people.
Can they call in?
No, they can't even call in. No, which is limiting.
That's disappointing.
Yeah.
Can I say a few words about what you've done, Doc?
Of course.
I read the piece food market, after school village, health clinic, senior center, pharmacy, job training. All of those things are really excellent. And I think that everyone who wants to run for an office needs to be screened for those things. The only and I looked very carefully because you have some language that says you need to see that the person supports or has done discernible actions related to those things.
Ooh.
Well, you
like that?
Yeah. Well, see, the reason why I'm expressing some caution here is that the Republicans did a similar kind of thing with a guy by the name of Grover Norquist.
Yeah.
And what he got them to sign off on, or anybody who was running
the tax pledge.
Right. So nothing that was proposed could ever move forward because everybody had signed this thing that said, I will not do anything that raises taxes in any way. So
which is now dead. They no longer even talk about that anymore.
They don't talk about it, but
you
that
think it's still in play? That
held legislation up
yes, for decades.
Two presidential cycles.
For Republicans.
So I was looking for a way of looking at the list, which is a wonderful list, but I needed to make sure, or I wanted you to think about whether we were creating a Grover Norquist kind of situation. But once you put
excellent observation,
but then you put in something that said, that's why I just quoted support or discernible action. So that gives you some subjectivity, so that you can say, but you didn't support a piece of legislation which allowed for food markets, or you didn't support something that related to health clinics.
Yeah, that's holding them their feet to the fire.
It's holding their feet to the fire, but my concern is I don't want anyone to create a Grover Norquist situation. So
we accept it, and I don't mind telling you officially we're stealing your ideas. Nothing wrong with being a copycat. As long as you know what cat to copy. So, Jimmy, we're copying, we thank you, and we accept it.
Yes, thank you. And that's what it's all about. We're all just we're all clay. And we're all looking for the best way to do it. I think maybe that might be a little strident, the Grover Norquist analogy, but I understand the implications of what you're saying.
Yeah, and what I'm saying is the list is good, and it's a list that I could and would support. But the mechanism that we're using, the whole you must sign, could bite us in the butt later on.
Interesting.
We totally agree. And let me add one additional thing. There's some communities, unlike the community that I'm in Matthew Henderson area, which was really the equivalent of not in my neighborhood. There are 3 communities in Baltimore City that historically started the housing discrimination in America: Reservoir Hill, Roland Park, and I'm trying to think the other one was right there by North.
Hamden?
No, it's Roland Park, Mount Royal, and Reservoir Hill. Well, we now know that there is a 4th one, another Jewish neighborhood that was resultant in bigotry being a part of this neighborhood as well, and it's the Easterwood community, which 60 years ago was predominantly Jewish. This neighborhood that I'm in was predominantly Jewish 60 years ago, and the discrimination that our Jewish brothers and sisters were receiving, and we were receiving as African Americans, is now evidenced through what we did in creating our own master plan. We're hoping to bring to the city early part of next year a master plan for our community, because believe it or not, during that 60-year period of time, there was no master plan for this Jewish community. They were the recipients of the same bigotry that was happening in the 3 other communities. So we encouraging folks, create your own memorandum for your candidates, but also if you don't have a master plan, create one.
Yes, sir. And there's a prototype at Matthew Henson Development Corporation.com, right?
Yes, sir.
Then that's where you can go.
.net.
Yeah, .net. Okay.
I believe all candidates should be put through some kind of screen. And this screen of 20, I thought it was 21, Doc, but you said 20.
Well, it might be 25 by the time we get to the election.
Yeah, but
it might be 4
but
points.
everybody needs to be put through that, and depending on how they respond to it, is how you evaluate them.
How many people have signed it so far that are running?
Right now, we've only had 4. These are 4 people, and ironically, they're running for different positions. The ones that have come to us so far, we're guesstimating we would probably have 20. We have a contested race. Well, all of the races are contested, but we have a vacancy in the 7 council district that where Pinkett is running now for president of city council. So there will be a new person that's elected to that position. So we know that we're going to get a good number of candidates that will come to us for that. And we're very active, as y'all probably know. So we think we're going to get a good number of candidates running for the 7th congressional district to come to us.
Wow. Well, you know the website, and you know Doc. You can reach him here on Mondays. And if you have questions, feel free to call. But this is the way we can change this. We can hold these people's feet to the fire about what they're going to do. Because I tell you, most of them, I saw one candidate had a GoFundMe up. Ricky Vaughn has a GoFundMe account, and I thought Ricky was very wealthy, but a GoFundMe account was sort of like, well, I guess I could run, huh?
Wait a minute. Your president is very wealthy, but he still has stuff coming to him from hotels and everything else. So
those are called emoluments.
Well, I think that I think that no matter how much wealth people say that they have, they're still out there begging.
Out there begging, spending other people's money.
Spending your money. Yeah.
OPM. Y'all remember that great movie? That was a good one. All right, we're going to go to the lines. Is that Bobby or Bubby?
This is Bubby. How you doing, Pat?
All right, pretty good. How you doing? What's going on with you today, sir?
I'm doing well. I'm looking at an article dated December the 4th, 2019. Warns white van trying to snatch young girls. Police said no reports.
Right.
In other words, you have a political official, the CEO of this city, come on TV and scan the parents of Baltimore City and putting city employees and others who operate white vans at risk. This is shameful, Patrick. This is reckless behavior from this man who have a history of saying reckless things.
Well, you know what, though? I don't know if you go to my page, Bubby, but y'all, if you go to my page, Patrick Henderson, just my regular page, you will see the numbers of children that are disappearing from the streets, and children and teenagers. So I'm not so sure, Bubby. I understand what you're saying.
Patrick,
yeah.
Patrick,
yeah.
I don't discount that.
Okay.
Patrick, but it was human trafficking going on 400 years when they snapped their ancestors from Africa. What I'm saying to you, that is factually wrong, and you do not put people in danger for doing their job because you need a political hit. That's what I'm saying. No one is discounting that there's human trafficking going on. What I am discounting, what leader get on news or any venue to spread information and put people at risk that not doing anything. Patrick, I am assigned a city white vehicle. Most mornings, I arrive at the school that I'm assigned to at 6:45 a.m. Nobody is there. I'm sitting in the parking lot. But nevertheless, I just don't want us to get in a situation where we accept buffoonery from our leaders like we have done for the past 50 years.
You know what this reminds me of?
What does it remind you of?
It reminds me of the D.C. sniper situation. Remember, they were allegedly running around in a white van, and come to find out, they were in a blue Chevy.
Shooting from the trunk.
There you go. And let me just finish so I can get off here. The man proposed that he's going to cut 5% from each city agency to raise the money to supplement the education default or the education money that they got to match in the current commercial. Let's put it like this, Patrick. I think this is done to hide the misuse of funds So therefore, you do not hire any city residents. Therefore, you lay off city residents to try to hide because the city microscope is now under issue with the financial dealings of Ms. Pugh. Lastly, Patrick, I would like someone to tell me if Ms. Pugh were taking money to sell her books, wouldn't it seem feasible that Ms. Pugh were taking money from department heads or entities involved with department heads to hire certain department heads that they want to run that department? Jason mentioned how they use money from housing to do the infrastructure for most of your development. I've been saying that for the past 15 years. If you open the books to housing and housing and urban development, you'll see how they take the money that supposed to went for maintenance into upkeep of public housing development and use it to develop other communities other than the majority. And lastly, I say no to Nick Mosley. Do not vote for Mr. Nick Mosley.
Well, yeah, I'm gonna go along with you on that because he was up in Ashburton as a city council person, and I voted for him. But it was amazing. He would come to we would go to the city council meetings, and he would vote one way at the city council, then come and mislead the people of Ashburton, one of the biggest voting blocks in the city, and would just deliberately lie.
He represented us in Sandtown as the 7th district.
Well, I don't think he'll get elected. I think his track record will
But Pat, I'm not sure. Somebody mentioned on the show that Central Committee, they put him in there as that delegate, so I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, everybody contends that was a favor being returned, right? The mayor told them to do that because he dropping out of the race before. So it's politics.
That was the second move made by the mayor. First, he tried to pay back Mr. Brown, who was basically channeling money for her. Right. That didn't work. Then I guess he was paying back a pass deal. He did not support.
Not one.
Made him the delegate.
Right. And I was at the meeting when he was chosen. People were going, "This is unbelievable. This is unbelievable."
Patrick,
yes.
I received information from Housing Authority employees. They've been told that they now have unlimited overtime to work on all the vacant units since I made us think about all the vacant units boarded up in the city that owned by the Housing Authority.
Oh, that's good news, right?
That's great news. Janet Abrams still should be fired. That's why I have no respect for Mad Jack Young. I have told him this and showed him stuff in his face with the corruption going on there, and he refused to fire Janet Abrams.
He refuses to. We'll find out what that's about. It'll eventually come out. The Bible says men love darkness because their deeds are evil. But I tell you, light is the detergent, and the detergent is coming. What about this? And I'm going to keep on moving here. I see you, Leon Bubby. Thank you, as always, for coming on. And we take you seriously, sir. Thank you so much. What is going to happen with the comptroller? Who's running for that office?
Bill Henry.
Bill Henry.
Yeah.
Do we trust him? Any word?
Well, as a councilman, there is a mixed reaction from what I can tell, but nothing really negative.
Okay.
And
is he competent?
It would appear that he is. He's thoughtful. In the instance of the white trucks, if he had a communication staff that said to him, look, before you make that statement, you need to get with the police department. You need to figure out if this is true or if this is just a Facebook plant.
Some sort of due diligence.
Because I had seen a bunch of Facebook stuff where they had white vans and they put locks on the back of them.
Deadlock,
and so they were really stirring up stuff.
Yes, man. I saw them too.
Now, what I would have done had I been mayor, or if anybody had asked me, I'd have said, let me get my staff together and figure out if this is true or not true. And then, if I wanted to issue a statement, I'd issue some kind of statement about just being cautious about sex traffickers. But once you say, and you got to look for white vans, then you're going to have every vigilante in Baltimore City looking for white vans. And Bubby's reaction is probably an appropriate one, because if he's sitting in a white van 6 o'clock in the morning, some vigilante might decide, you know what?
Right.
I need to come up and accost this person and arrest them or find out what his identification is. So that was the danger of doing that. And so I say to the mayor, I say to any person that's running for position, just stop talking if you don't know what you're talking about.
Well, also, yes, I agree with that. But I'm telling y'all need to stop sending your children out early in the morning by themselves. You need to stop doing it. You just need to stop doing it. They are so vulnerable. When you start talking to them, because they're a little scared anyway, because I have talked to them standing on, and they'll talk to you. So that's an automatic what is that, come and get me, because they're vulnerable and there's nobody watching. But I'll see that, and sometimes I will sit there until that school bus comes moving in the right direction, y'all. This is scary, because they are raping these children. They're finding these children with their bodies decapitated, with organs missing.
Or not finding them at all.
So it is serious. So I'm not mad at him because he brought it up. And as you say, he should have done his due diligence. Leon, thank you. Welcome to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People. Do you have a question or comment? 410-481-1010. 410-481-1010. If you got a question or comment, go ahead.
Hey guys, how you doing?
All right.
And you co-hosted, huh?
Marvelous, my brother.
Hey,
God bless you.
Look, as far as the gentleman, who is your guest? What's his name?
Yes. Oh, I'm James.
James C. Morant. Yes.
Okay, James, you're absolutely right. That Norquist bill, where he had people to sign, the Congress tore those individuals apart, and you could not bring a bill because of the fact that these people that signed were promoting Norquist.
Right.
That's right.
You're absolutely right. No bill passed.
That's right. For
Now,
2 congressional
as far as,
sessions.
I heard Jesse Jackson talking about the HBCUs, Doc. And that's one of Miss Carter, what's her name, Jill Carter, reducing student debt and supporting the HBCUs. So please don't make her sign no bill where she'll be stymied if she gets a position in Congress, okay?
You know,
I would caution you to tell Bubby, if he's on duty, calling in, he better be careful. I was superintendent in the post office. I had 100 men, heavy transportation. I had an investigation unit. When I left there, I went to work running campaigns with Julius Henderson. We put Joan Pratt in office.
Yeah, wow.
Relative to Bill Henry.
You work for Julius Henderson?
About the bag bill.
Wow.
2 days after the bag bill
sir. So you work with Julius Henderson?
Yes.
Well, didn't he go to jail?
Well, I didn't go to jail. I'm still free.
Well, evidently you wasn't caught up in it like he was.
Well, let me just finish. Bill Henry was the sponsor of the bag bill, which I will be protesting soon. 2 days after it passed, in the 4100 block of Harford Road, you will see Bill Henry running for comptroller, okay? Signs. There's 2 of them in the 4100 block of Harford Road. Now, is that a coincidence? Or did I put up a bill that's going to damage people who will have to pay 5 cents or 10 cents for a bag?
That's ridiculous, yo.
Look here, let me tell you this. When I was over at B. Gaddy for my 27th year working, I'm going through taking pictures for my protest that I see these guys carrying these bags. I asked the guys, what are you carrying a bag for? I mean, I see all these things. These are man, them pop stores are charging us 10 cents for a bag or 5 cents for a bag. I said, that bill ain't in effect yet. He said, well, you tell them. Okay? Now, check this out. It's supposed to be a $1,000 fine if, in fact, the bill is violated. Who's collecting the $1,000 from the mom and pop stores that are charging an unjust tax on poor people, or will be charging sometime in August when the bill goes in effect? And if Jack Young hasn't signed it, I suggest that he's not signing. The lady who took over Brandon Scott's position abstained, I think, because she said it's an unjust bill on the backs of poor people.
Absolutely,
and
it
she's
is.
Absolutely right.
Yes, she is. All right.
But every council member voted for it.
Well,
so are we promoting ourselves, or we should be doing the job of serving constituent problems that we were put in there to do?
All right.
The last thing, I'm glad you're proposing that bill about people who are running for office who don't have nothing to lose. If they lose the election, they still got their position. I'm going to give you one person as an example.
Okay, you're going to have to hold on, sir. Hold on. You're listening to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People on WOLB 1010 Baltimore. Don't touch that dial. We'll be right back.
It's too important to give up for anything.
Talk in the day. Soul at night on the new 1010 WOLB.
Attention. If you're in debt to the IRS and frustrated with your options, for a limited time you can call and quickly check your eligibility for the Fresh Start programs offered by the IRS to reduce or even eliminate your tax problem. Through this special toll-free hotline number, you can find out in minutes if you qualify for these powerful new debt reduction programs green-lighted by the IRS for 2019. If you have unfiled tax returns, under audit, have a wage or bank levy, or just want to know your options, business or personal, Republic Tax Relief's A-plus rated tax relief system has helped thousands stop IRS collections immediately and saved millions in tax debt. These relief programs will not last forever. Call their hotline number now, 800-639-2616. That's 800-639-2616. Check your eligibility for tax debt savings today. Call 800-639-2616. That's 800-639-2616.
Winning is being a whole, healthy person, not a cancer patient.
Winning is seeing my son graduate from high school.
Winning is living. It's that simple.
We need change. We need patient empowerment. We need patient education and engagement. So Let's Win provides a way for people to get promising treatment, build networks for them.
It's sharing a reservoir of scientific information that is critical to the detection and curing of this disease process.
So we want to shake up the system. We want to create a community of pancreatic cancer patients.
You're not alone.
Pancreatic cancer is treatable.
There are people who will help you. I will help you. Together.
Let's win.
WOLB Baltimore and WERQ FM HD3 Baltimore.
The views and opinions of the guest and host you hear on 1010 WOLB
are not necessarily those of the staff and management of Radio 1, its sponsors, or advertisers.
It's done unto you as you believe.
Welcome back to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People. You know, one thing that I want to say here, Jimmy, and to you, Leon, I don't want people to think that this memorandum of understanding is anywhere near the proportion of the Grover Norquist bill. That bill was against any taxes. We're not talking about taxes here. We're talking about what these people are going to do for the city. Help me here, Doc, because I'm a little concerned that we're giving the wrong impression here. We're casting an aspersion or a cloud over this, what you're doing with as far as a memorandum of understanding, demanding that these people, these are the things your community wants, and you want them to pay attention to. Could you clarify, please, sir?
Well, what I found oftentimes when ideas are new to folks, the first thing they think of is first trying to tear it down rather than try to understand it, and it's understandable. I'm not troubled by it.
Critical thinkers.
What we are attempting to do as a community, there are certain things that do not exist in our Matthew Henson neighborhood that some communities take for granted. Like, there are very few that are listening right now that live in a neighborhood where there is no food market, where there is no senior center, where if you need to get some information about your community, there is no community action agency here. We don't have what some communities take for granted. So what we've done is we've listed the items that we feel we need to bring into our community, and we have asked the candidates, if you get elected, we want you to help us work in bringing these specific things that directly affect our community into our community. So it's not like we're having someone sign off and say for the next 20 years,
your firstborn
here.
Right.
We're just looking at things that we don't have that we're asking someone to help us with. So hopefully that makes it a little bit clear.
It does. It clarifies.
Don't feel bad if you challenge it. We know this: 99% of folks in Baltimore City that happen to be African American, we don't even belong to community organizations.
Right.
We don't deal with a community organization until something happens. Then you want to join. We're telling folks, don't wait till something happens. Join your neighborhood association.
Exactly. Just
today.
set the course. Well, we just had all these shopper stores. Did y'all see that in the paper?
Yep.
All these shoppers are closing up. This is a prime
ownerships.
Can I interject something, please?
Yes, go ahead.
Now, that's okay on a local level if you got people signing something for your district that is running in your district.
Right.
But I'm talking about on a federal level.
We're not talking about federal, sir.
This isn't a federal issue.
It
right,
isn't.
brother?
It isn't.
Listen to what I just said.
Doc,
this
but
is
you said
about
something
our
about the
specific
HABC?
community. This is
Did you say
about
something
our
about the college
specific
money?
community.
Did you say something about the college money?
No, sir. No, that was a whole different issue.
stand corrected. But let me finish.
Leon, thank you. You had
Folks
plenty
are
of
so
time,
busy
sir.
to go against something that's new that they don't listen. This has nothing to do with anything statewide. This deals with our specific community.
Yeah, the language that you put in this particular document, which says we want to see you support, we want to see your support for or discernible action with regard to these things. That's fine.
Okay.
That's why I was very careful to say I went through the list, but once you put that sort of clarifying statement at the bottom, then that makes it fine. But
we welcome it. The idea is great.
Yeah, but thank you, sir. But so there is I don't want to call it wiggle room, but there is an opportunity for the community and the politician to work together. And that statement, you support or you show me support or you show me discernible action. And if you run through that screen, I'm fine.
Exactly. Show us at least that you tried.
Yeah.
At least that you tried. So I agree. But
if it is impossible to put a pharmacy at the corner of McKean and North Avenue, I understand that. But I need to know that you talk to somebody about getting that pharmacy, or you talk to somebody about getting it within the next 5 years or something like that. So I need to see that's
shown some effort.
Action.
Yes, that's correct, right, Doc? That's all that you're saying.
100%.
Yeah, 100%. All right, Sharon, we're coming to you. And Thomas, I see you, 410-481-1010. Somebody sent us a text saying, y'all wild today. Okay, we're not wild today. We're just talking about what it is and what it needs to be done. That's all it is. You call us whatever you want to call us. We love you for listening, and thank you for listening to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People. Sharon, do you have a question or comment?
Hello, Patrick.
Hey, sweet, that's Sherry. How you?
All righty. Patrick, first of all, I love Bubby, but I just take issue to one thing as far as with the white van. Now, let me ask you this specific question, Patrick.
Okay.
If you knew it was supposed to be a bomb on your job, and you found out about it, and they told you not to say anything to your other coworkers there, would you say something?
Sure, I would, yeah. I would.
Okay. Prime example. There are things that the mayor, Jack, will be privy to that other people will not be privy to. That's his way of talking directly to the community. The police department is not going to always tell you.
No.
They say, I advise you against it. Case in point, one time I told my fellow people, I said, look, be careful because you know your job. This is a hard job, and I want you to be safe because, see, I can read upside down. And I came across something, and let me tell you, and I told my people, Patrick, do you know they went and reported, say, such and such say she heard this, she got what? those people called me in the office when I got to work and asked me how did I, you know what I say? I say, is it true? Let me tell you what they did. They stepped me right out that office, and I told blacks, not whites, but blacks, and they report such and such. You can't tell black people everything, okay? They don't know how to disseminate information. They don't know how to handle it.
And we don't trust each other.
That's exactly it. If you notice, one quick thing, when that young boy, 16 years old, got shot and killed, and his mother got shot, his name was Carrington. Did you see that white van? They never said anything else about that white van. Jack is right on this one. Wow. He is absolutely right. Sometimes you have, he's speaking directly to us. You don't need a Harvard graduate
degree.
He is speaking authentic. Jack Young, this is the time you take the ball, you run for it. The things the Bubby need down there, give it to him. Act like you ain't going to make it no more. So any money you could give up to the city and to these poor areas to help them right, give it to them. You have nothing to lose, but you do have something to win. Because people will put you back in that office, and you ain't got to go to a town hall meeting because you're going to be doing the business. Have a good day.
Thanks, Sherry. You know, I agree with some of that. I'm not sure. 410-481-1010. I think, you know, because Jack Young had also said that when the weather changes, the crime goes down. That's true. I heard the police department say that. I heard that, Jimmy. So, and on my blocks, I'm noticing them boys ain't out there when it's cold. When it's raining, they're not out there. You know, so y'all, we kind of look at it as like, you know, gainful or something, or maybe he's just talking off.
In the snow, people are robbing stores. And you know, you react to that and you say, don't they have can somebody like go in for a few minutes and get out of the snow and stop, you know, doing whatever.
Man, I'm telling you, they still slow.
I have seen criminality even in snowstorms.
Well, I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but I'm just saying that it. You know, last week we had a killing over in Dolefield. Right there, and I call the police all the time and ask them to clear that off. We had it cleared off for a while, and it came back. So somebody was killed there last week, and we're just really upset about that. I'm going to go with Thomas. Thomas, welcome to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People. You have a question or comment? Hi.
Yes, thank you ever so much for taking my call. Well, guys, Baltimore City's favorite son, Ray Lewis, also said when cold weather comes, crime is going to go down. So if Jack must have got that from his, there you go.
Right.
But guys, let me say, Brother Cheatham, how are you, good man?
Doc, are you there? Doc.
I lost him.
No. Doc. Doc, are you there? Doc Cheatham. Go ahead.
Anyway, what I want to find out from Doc, Sargo Bararaca, DA, I renamed him DA Freak Nasty, okay?
Thiru Vigorajni?
I call him DA Freak Nasty.
Why?
Okay? Because of the video that's circulating with him and his girl in the hotel room. I wanted to know if he was one of those candidates that came to Doc's community and
yes. I can tell you, yes, he did come. He signed the agreement, and he explained that situation.
Is he a man of morals and ethics who should be voting for him?
Well, that's probably going to come up more. You know what he's talking about, Jimmy?
No, not really.
There was this tape. You know those people that the Republicans that go in and act like they're one thing, and they've got
like
the hidden camera.
The Acorn people.
Yeah, they destroyed Acorn and also destroyed. Thought they destroyed Planned Parenthood, and they ended up having this. They sued them, and they had to pay several $1 million because they were lying. They edited the tape, so it's questionable about that tape. But I listened to that tape, and Doc, are you there? He sounds like he's on another phone chatting away, which I don't doubt.
But they say that Theroux had been involved in that in some way?
Yeah, they had a tape of him. It was a video of him hitting on this woman.
But then he tried to get the woman to destroy the evidence of the text messaging that him and her had going on between each other. So that if it gets out, that it can be damaging to him. So the woman asked him about his wife. He says that he's married only for appearance purposes. Guys, who does that?
Trump.
And most of his cabinet.
That's what I'm saying. It's like it's difficult to have a level of standard anymore because people can just say, well, look at the president is doing it, and he's getting away with it. So it just makes it really difficult, I think, Thomas.
Hey guys, these town hall meetings that Fox 45 has going on, that's the only place I know that they can go to a convicted felon, being one Ed Norris,
right,
and count him as an expert in anything.
Well, I tell you what, that's the one thing I have about Vigneraj EG that concerns me. I've talked to people that say to me that every time they look at him, he reminds them of Martin O'Malley because of his crime and this was his platform is to change, do a great drop in crime. So what will he do? Arrest another 6 of the population to do it. So people are concerned about him for a lot of reasons. Another reason people are concerned is the fact that he's an Indian and the long history of the caste system of India, especially for the darker Indians, the what do they call them, the untouchables. So he's got some. I'm
more concerned about him doing fundraising in Texas related to the folks who are pushing the surveillance system in Baltimore City.
He's doing that. T.J. Smith is also on board with that, guys.
Who?
T.J. Smith.
Oh yeah.
He is also on board with John and Melinda Arnold Foundation.
Well, I want to ask you two gentlemen. There was just an article in the paper today talking about DNA. And how they're going in and getting people's DNA without their consent, but they're solving these crimes that have been on the books for decades. How do y'all feel about that? Should people, if they can match your DNA to a crime, should you be told that they've done that, or should they have to ask you to do that?
Now, if they match your DNA to a crime, are they planting your DNA at the scene of that crime?
I don't like where I am now is I'm really not interested in the whole ancestry.com kind of because I'm paranoid enough to think that the government is collecting DNA information for nefarious purposes. So, for example, if a health care plan was passed that they didn't like, then they could use some of that DNA information perhaps to determine whether you were more likely to be healthy, less likely to be healthy, your family history of heart disease or whatever it is.
Did you see 60 Minutes yesterday?
No, I didn't.
Oh, well, please, everybody, go to 60minutes.com. This brilliant professor has this doing exactly that. Going through, and he would set up the genome system. This doctor,
so you could have designer babies.
Not only designer babies, but he's fixing it where he can go in and alter the DNA and take out viruses and cancers and things like that.
China's already doing that, Patrick.
What is?
China.
Didn't say anything about China. I only know about.
Good.
That's the one that really shocked me and popped my eyes open when he said that was the one they're working on now. They're doing it in rats and it's working in mice. So the technology is just going in.
The Dorian Gray syndrome.
Yeah.
And see, if it was such a good thing, then why would we have to, for example, get court orders to get your DNA in criminal situations?
Because that's a search and seizure issue.
Right.
Well,
unlawful.
Yeah, but I'm saying if we move toward this, everybody give up your DNA so that you can see what your ancestry was and what your medical history was, then aren't we moving to the point that we are relinquishing our ability to feel our own sense of privacy and self-worth?
Yeah, I know, but to me it's empowering. We found out we're a lot of Nigerian. My family seems to be people. The Nigerians kept telling me that. They said, "You are Nigerian." They tell me all the time, "You are Nigerian." Don't care what nobody say. You are Nigerian, and come to find out they were right. Thomas, are you gone? And let's go to Chris in Baltimore. The people, you got a question or comment?
Just real quick comment, because I had to call in to support Doc Cheatham 100%.
Yes.
Going back to Norver, what he proposed was politicians sign a commitment that they will not vote for any bill that increase government spending without any offset in government spending. Whether you agree with that or not, obviously on my side, I do agree with it. I did agree with it. I support that because I think government spending is out of control. That's not the issue. What Doc Cheatham is doing, and what he should not be discouraged from, is holding politicians accountable.
Yes.
You may not like what Grover was doing on the issues, but that's not the issue. The issue is hold people accountable.
That's all.
And look at the issue that Doc is saying, and who knows, I may agree with Doc in the community's position that they want to hold the politicians accountable for. I may disagree with him. The bottom line is he ought to be applauded and it be replicated across the city. Sign your name, and if you don't do what you said you were going to do, we're going to vote you out. That's exactly what it's all about.
That's what it's all about.
Don't get distracted by this other stuff and who did it before and what it caused. We need to hold our own people accountable and do it the same way everybody else is doing it.
You know what I got to ask you, Chris? Why is it that we don't realize the power that we have, knowing that no president can be elected in America without the black vote? The other day, did you see that thing I sent you from the city planning committee?
So when I started putting it in writing and they replied back, I had the magic bullet. If they didn't do it, I had the magic bullet because I had the paper trail. And that's where we got to start having a paper trail everywhere we go in this city for whatever we need to be done. And y'all have a good day.
All right.
Y'all talk to y'all next week.
Okay. Thank you. Doc, did you have some comments you wanted to make on that?
No. I know that, it's something new that we're bringing to the table, but I think it's something that is viable. Yes, it can probably be tweaked and improved. But we're just trying to tell people, let's not keep doing what we've been doing. Let's bring the issues to the table, and then hold the people that are promising you, hold it.